22 goals, 3 assists, 18 games. That's video game numbers Mbappe is pulling this season. But hold up, isn't this the same guy who got caught offside 8 times in one match? The same guy who went a whole season without lifting a single trophy? Yeah, that Mbappe. So what changed? How did he flip the script this hard? And what went wrong after that World Cup final? This is the epic comeback story of Kylian Mbappé. Before the world knew his name, Kylian Mbappé already knew exactly where he wanted to go. There's that famous photo of him at 14. Skinny kid, Bondi bedroom, Cristiano Ronaldo posters everywhere. But the best part isn't the room, it's the look on his face. He genuinely believed he was leaving that room for the Bernabeu one day, and he said it out loud. People around him still talk about that confidence. His coaches in Bondi remember a kid who breathed ambition. A family friend once gave him a little model of the Santiago Bernabeu as a joke. Mbappé didn't laugh. He made a promise. One day I'll take you there. And he meant it. Even at Monaco's academy, he thought bigger than everyone else. When the kids were told to design a fake magazine cover, most made themselves the next big footballer. Mbappé picked Time magazine. The headline, Kylian Mbappé, the best young player in the world. That was his mindset at 14. Of course, raw talent comes with rough edges. Teachers said he couldn't sit still. Coaches loved his brain but struggled with his need to dribble through everything. He didn't want to play safe. He wanted to make the difference every single time. That nearly derailed his time with Monaco's U17s until the club stepped in and moved him away from a tense coaching situation. From there, he rocketed up the ranks. At 16 years and 347 days, he broke Thierry Henry's record as Monaco's youngest first-team player. Then came the season that changed everything. 2016-17, he exploded. 26 goals, a League One title, and a Champions League run where he tore elite defenses apart. Guardiola could only shake his head after facing him. He is so fast. Arsène Wenger went even bigger. When I first saw him, I thought, this is Pelé. France called him up. He became their youngest player in decades. His rise wasn't hype anymore. It was happening right in front of everyone. By 2017, every giant club wanted him. Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal, both Manchester clubs, all in. Real Madrid even agreed a $180 million fee with Monaco. Mbappé visited the club, met the directors, saw the facilities. The dream he'd talked about since childhood was right there. But Madrid couldn't guarantee him minutes with Ronaldo, Benzema, Bale, and the rest already ahead. PSG could. They offered the project, the spotlight, and a return to his home city. Mbappé chose Paris. The football world was stunned. But when he went back to Bondi after signing, everything made sense again. He played with the kids, stood under that huge mural of himself, and reminded everyone what really shaped him. In Bondi, he later wrote, "There isn't a lot of money, but we are dreamers." And he was the biggest dreamer of them all. The 2018 World Cup changed everything. 19 years old, playing with the confidence of someone who'd been preparing for this moment his entire life. The match that defined his explosion came against Argentina in the last 16. A blur of limbs and acceleration, Mbappé ripped through their defense like a sprinter running a different race. His sprints felt like F1 drivers hitting DRS. Pure electricity. He won a penalty, scored twice, and single-handedly shattered Argentina's back line. Messi could only watch. By the time France lifted the trophy, Mbappé had 4 goals, a medal around his neck, and a place beside Pelé, the only teenagers ever to score in a World Cup final. Pelé welcomed him publicly. Welcome to the club. The world had been waiting for its next global star. The search was over. If his rise had felt meteoric until then, the 2022 World Cup in Qatar added something deeper: leadership. At halftime in the final against Argentina, with France collapsing, Didier Deschamps was furious. The dressing room was quiet, and then Mbappé, 23 years old, stood up. "It's a World Cup final," he shouted. "This is every 4 years. We can come back." He led them not with words alone, but with one of the greatest individual performances a final has ever seen.
C'est le match d'une vie. On ne peut pas faire pire. De toute façon, on ne peut pas faire pire. Je te sens la fête. On retourne sur le terrain, soit on les laisse jouer au con, soit on y va, on met un peu d'intensité, on rentre dans les duels, et on fait autre chose déjà. C'est une finale de Coupe du Monde. C'est fait. Ils ont mis les 2 buts. Pour revenir, hein. Les gars, c'est tous les 4 ans, un truc comme ça.
2 goals in 97 seconds, a third in extra time, a late chance that nearly sealed immortality. He didn't win the trophy, Messi did. But the night changed nothing. It confirmed Mbappe wasn't the future. He was the present. With Messi gone to MLS and Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia, the path felt clear. Football had entered a new era. A one with Mbappe at the center. After years of hints, negotiations, and last-minute twists, the move that had felt written for more than a decade finally happened. In 2024, at 25 years old, Mbappe ended his time at PSG as their all-time leading scorer, 256 goals in 308 games, and announced he was joining Real Madrid. Madrid fans were ready for fireworks, but instead, they got sparks. Tiny ones, the kind that fizzle out before they even touch the ground. Because the moment Mbappe landed in Spain, football fans turned into detectives. Every run, every touch, every chance, analyzed to the max, and people didn't hold back. 5 goals in 16 games from open play, that's it? Bros destroying Real Madrid. You heard it everywhere. And to be fair, the numbers weren't lying. For someone hyped as the final boss of football, those stats were looking more like a mid-table winger on a cold night in January. La Liga exposed something a lot of people never noticed. Mbappe isn't the same player when space disappears. His tight space game wasn't sharp enough. His first touch, sometimes heavy. His close control, not always clean. And in La Liga, if you lose half a second, you might as well lose the whole ball. When Messi was in tight spaces, he'd slip through 3 defenders like he was made of smoke. Vinicius, he'll drag you out wide, drop the shoulder, and embarrass you. Mbappe just didn't look that comfortable doing the same. At PSG, he had it all. Freedom, spotlight, and a team built around him like a shrine. Every attack went through him. He didn't have to adjust to anyone. But at Madrid, zero special treatment. The badge is bigger than any player. The fans, they don't whisper criticism, they deliver it with a megaphone. And the teammates, they expect you to keep up or move aside. The pressure got real when Madrid started dropping points to teams they should have dealt with easily. Mallorca, Valladolid, Las Palmas, 3 games, no goals, no assists, and only 1 win. For Mbappe, that stretch felt like a giant neon sign flashing, what's going on? Yeah, he eventually scored 5 goals in 4 matches, but 3 were penalties. And everyone knows penalties don't save you from being judged in Spain. Not when you're supposed to be the guy who changes everything. But honestly, the goals weren't even the main problem. The problem was fit. Mbappe didn't want to play as the main striker. He made that clear from day one. He wanted the left wing, but Real Madrid already had the king of that lane. Vinicius Jr. Ballon d'Or level season, fan favorite, face of the club's attack. Nobody, and I mean nobody, was pushing Vinny off that spot. So Mbappe had to move inside, play a position he's never fully mastered, and suddenly everything that made him unstoppable on the wing didn't work the same. Running in behind, harder in the middle. Staying onside, twice as tricky. Against Barcelona, he got caught offside 8 times. 8. That's wild. And yeah, Barca's high line is a trap, but still, elite strikers time those runs better. And then came the international drama. Mbappe captained France in a 3-1 loss to Italy, barely touched the ball against Belgium, then skipped 2 matches because he wanted to focus on big games to boost his Ballon d'Or chances. The media went wild, headlines everywhere. Suddenly, people weren't talking about his goals. They were talking about his attitude. His stats made it worse. Lowest expected goals tally since his breakout year. Taking more shots than ever, but scoring less. 99th percentile for shot attempts, yet a 20% conversion rate. That's not elite. That's frustration. People were ready to write Kylian Mbappe off after his first season at Real Madrid. Trophy-less, they said. He isn't the answer. They shrugged. But here's what everyone conveniently ignored. Despite Madrid winning nothing in 2024-25, Mbappe still smashed 31 league goals and walked away with the European Golden Shoe. While the club struggled, he didn't. He kept delivering week after week, carrying the attack, creating danger, doing exactly what a superstar forward is supposed to do. The trophies didn't show up, but the numbers did, and they were elite. And now he looks like a man who took that frustration personally. Because this season, Mbappe isn't just good, he's on fire. He's sitting on 13 goals and 3 assists in 12 games for Real Madrid. One of the best starts any player has ever had at this club. He's cutting through defenses with that electric burst, that signature shoulder drop, that cold finishing. Every time he touches the ball, the Bernabeu leans forward. And in the Champions League, he's not just competing, he's dominating the entire competition. 9 goals in 5 matches. He's the top scorer. He's the engine, the spark, the threat no one can contain. That 4-goal night against Olympiacos, that wasn't a performance. It was a statement, a reminder that when Mbappé decides to take over, there isn't a defender on earth who can stop him. And suddenly, the narrative people loved for a year, Mbappé was the problem. Looks ridiculous. Turns out he was never the issue. Turns out he was the one thing actually working. Right now, he is Real Madrid's biggest weapon, their loudest heartbeat, their clearest path back to dominance. If this form continues, and all signs say it will, he's going to drag this team deep into Europe, because players like this don't just score goals, they change destinies, they win nights, they decide titles. This feels like the season he finally lifts the Champions League in chasing. This feels like the run that pushes him straight into Ballon d'Or territory, not as a hopeful candidate, but as the guy everyone else is trying to catch. Kylian Mbappé isn't just back, he's coming for everything they said he couldn't have. Anyway, let me know what you think. Is this finally the year he takes over Europe? Drop your thoughts, like this video, and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one.